January 26th and we're off to visit our first Parador of the year in Granada. Stay at the Parador de Granada, which is in the grounds of the Alhambra. So we're looking forward to this one. It's meant to be very impressive. The drive from Almeria to Granada is fairly spectacular. The motorway goes alongside the mountains of Sierra Nevada. It's about a 2.5-hour trip from Almeria to Granada. After navigating the motorway which goes through Granada, you start to climb up towards the Alhambra complex. Vehicle access to the Alhambra is restricted, so if you're staying there, you're allowed to park there. So this is quite impressive, being able to drive up. Through what I understand is a new gate, not one of the old traditional ones. And then suddenly you're in the square outside the Palace of Carlos V. And much to the annoyance of everyone walking around, you can drive up to the top and park in the Parador car park. I think there's about 20 car parking spaces here. Has EV charging like I think most of the Paradors do now. What was also good is we were able to turn up early. We turned up about 11, able to park the car and go and explore. Whether you can do this all the time or whether it was just because they were quiet this time of year, not sure. The original part of the hotel was a Nasrid palace built in the 1200s, so part of this was the original Alhambra, and we'll see a small section of this later. The Alhambra translated is the Red Fortress. After the monarchs of Christian Spain reconquered Granada in 1492, it was converted into a Franciscan convent. It was completed in 1495 and was known as the Palace of the Convent of St. Francis, or San Francisco de la Alhambra. During this build, most of the original Nasrid Palace was demolished. These pictures looking back at the hotel are taken from the Generalife, which is part of the Alhambra complex. This was the summer palace of the Alhambra. Beautiful gardens here, great views. After a couple of hours looking around the Generalife, we headed back to the hotel to check in. This was the side entrance to the cafe and the restaurant, the public entrance. We tend to think of convents as being for nuns and monasteries for monks, but here the convents were always in the cities, so the San Franciscan monks could work with and help the local community. The monasteries were usually more rural and isolated. What we see of the old building in front of us here is from the 1700s when it was renovated and a bell tower added. You enter through these great doors. There's a picture of Queen Isabella. And then you go through into the reception and there's a statue of St. Francisco. Fairly modern lounge area with glass and ceramics. And we're in the modern section of the hotel. Again, quite a modern room, very clean, very smart. The usual amenities, coffee maker. Nice bedroom and a great view out the window of the Tenerife. That's looking back where we took the pictures earlier. We look down on the terrace, which isn't open at the moment. Nice attention to detail here, we haven't seen this before. And some nice fluffy robes. A smart modern bathroom. Shower with above a bath with the jets, jacuzzi bath, not sure what you call them. And a toilet area with a glass sliding door. And kettle, safe, and a minibar. This was a nice touch for January, a Parador calendar to take away with you. I know the video is meant to be about the Parador, but I can't resist showing some film of the Nasrid Palace. Very impressive. This is the courtyard of the Lions. Beautiful gardens. The Alcazar, which is the castle, and the palace of King Carlos V. This is a strange building really. You go in there, fairly impressive architecture, but it almost looks more like an auditorium than a palace. I guess all the rooms are off this central courtyard. From inside the hotel you go down into the bar area, cafeteria, and then onto the restaurant. It's dark, fairly modern in here. Didn't help that we were the only people there. As I say, fairly quiet this time of year. Quite a nice dining room, fairly formal, but we did have a really nice meal here. This is the central cloisters area of the old convent. So this is the old part of the hotel, which is the most impressive part. Queen Isabella was buried in the convent in 1504, and her husband King Ferdinand later was also buried here in 1516. Their bodies lay here until 1521, when they were moved to a newly built royal chapel at the cathedral in Granada. It was abandoned as a convent, and during the Napoleonic occupation of Spain from 1810 to 1812, it was used as a barracks for the occupying French army, They apparently did significant damage to it. The building lay abandoned, and later some renovation was done in the early 1900s, and then in 1940 it was acquired by the Spanish government and started to be converted into a Parador hotel. This opened in 1945. This is the part of the original Nasrid Palace. This is the upstairs walkway around the courtyard. This would be where the bedrooms in the old part of the convent are. I'm not sure how you can choose these when you book online, but I imagine these are the more impressive historical rooms. It's a picture of San Francisco again. We walked out onto the terrace. I think this is where it's going to come into its own. The spring and the summer, where the gardens are looking beautiful, everyone's sitting out. You can look back at the Generalife. You can imagine this being fabulous in the summer. Quite a lot of it was shut off to us. We've just spent a night at the Parador in Granada. I'm sitting here in the beautiful courtyard of what would have been the Franciscan convent, built around about 1400. We've had a really nice evening here. It's a great location. You're literally 30 seconds from the entrance to the Generalife, a few minutes walk down to the Palace of Carlos V and the Alcazar and the Nasrid Palace. It has got to be the best location for visiting the Alhambra. Probably not the greatest time of year to come. Terraces are closed in the evening, so you don't get the full experience of being in this location, because you can imagine in the spring and the summer, sitting outside in the gardens, looking out across the Generalife or lit up beautiful gardens would be quite spectacular. This part I'm sitting in now with the courtyard is the old building, which is full of character. Our room was in the modern part of the complex, so no character at all really. Nice room, but didn't have the charm which this area does. The restaurant and cafe furnishings are quite simple. Again, you probably appreciate it more when you can sit outside. It is expensive, this Parador. It justifies it because of the location. This time of year, maybe not so much, because you don't get the full benefit, but it is a great place, great location. Wherever you stay in Granada, coming here in the evening is a must. This is the Mirador de San Nicolas, and you can look back over the Alhambra, all lit up at night. Quite spectacular.